What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG Structures chapter review. Today, guys, we are going to be going over Chapter 6 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG Structures manga. I can't wait to get into this discussion, so let's not waste any time, and let's get right into it. Here we go, guys. So, what did I think of this chapter? I thought this was actually a pretty good chapter, and I will say, though, when we get to the later talk about this, I will say that this kind of gets a little bit confusing in my opinion, and I definitely am going to need your guys' help, and when I get to it, and I'll ask it again later on in the video, but I really, guys, need you to help me with something, because apparently I'm clearly not understanding something. I'm trying my best to do with all the information I got, but I got a little bit confused in this chapter, but everything out, well, even though this manga has kind of been already like hard to understand because it's all focused around the card game, and if you're only an anime watcher, it area is confusing for you. But honestly, I feel like the story aspect has been a little bit confusing to me. So we'll get into it a little bit later, but let's jump right into it. So we're continuing from where we left off last time. It's Tendo versus Shoma. They both have 8,000 life points. They got he has his dragon thunder. Tendo has his Thunder Dragon Colossus on the field along with his Link 2 Summon Summoner, and Yuga has Super Quantum Red Layer, Invocator Evoqua, and his Ace Monster God Phoenix Gearfree on the field. And Shoma goes for his attack. He starts right away into his battle phase. Tendo activates his Summon Summoner's effect to discard one card. But he summons Thunder Dragon Roar. Sorry, these Thunder Dragon names are confusing me for some reason. He's able to summon his Dragon Thunder Roar, or Dragon Roar. Yuga continues his attack. He's able to destroy Summon Summoner, deals 400 points of damage, uses Gearfree to attack, then uses the effect of Ronlin that is already in his hand to equip him to Gearfried to grant him powers. When the damage step begins, the second effect of his Gearfried can activate to seize control of his Colossus and treat it as an equip card. So now his monster is up to 4,000 attack points because I believe it gains 500 attack points per equipped card that is equipped to the monster. So now this monster has a great 4,000 attack points, goes and attacks his Dragon Roar, able to destroy it, has no field cards left on the field, but didn't take any damage because obviously the monster that he plays was in defense mode, but he activates his third effect of his God Phoenix Gearfried, where he can send an equipped card to the graveyard to negate an effect because he tried to Tendo tried to activate Dragon Roar's effects, but it was able to be negated. And then he uses Evoqua to attack Tendo directly, gets him down to 6,100 life points. Then during the end phase, he was able to activate Ronlin's effect to add a second copy of Gearfried to his hand. Then Tendo tries to activate the second Dragon Dark that is in his hand to discard it, which lets him add a third Dragon Dark from his deck to his hand. And that's where we go into the end phase. We go to Tendo's turn, and this is where you start to see the whole tide change because we kind of get an understanding of how Thunder Dragons work, where he wants his cards to be in the graveyard. That is the major thing about this. And this puts Shoma into a situation where he can only use Gearfried's effect once per turn. However, if he does that, he can't protect himself from any other place. So if he wants to be able to beat Tendo, he has to perfectly time of when he activates his monster's effect. But that really doesn't go well for him, as literally the first monster that he tries to stop, or the first monster he uses to activate effects, that is the immediate monster that he uses to stop. He banishes the third Dragon Arc from his hand, and that was the card that he was trying to stop. But that wasn't enough, even though he was able to negate that monster's effect, and it even brought him back down. It brought Gearfried's attack points back to 3,000, where it was beginning at. But That doesn't stop him. He activates the second effect of his Thunder Dragon Fusion that was in his graveyard to banish the card to add his Dragon Roar from his deck to a hand, another one. Then he uses Thunder Dragon Fusion. He had one already in his hand, plus one in the graveyard. So not only was he able to get a free card from his deck, but he was still able to activate his fusion card. And this shocks Shoma. Like, we've seen Shoma shocked before, but this guy, like, he was terrified of what in the world just happened. But he was able to fusion summon into his Thunder Dragon Titan. And this card is a beast. This card is an absolute beast. And I'm just going to say, in my opinion, this card is kind of disgusting, if I'm going to be completely honest. Because I'm going to say this right now, I do not like non-once per turn card effects. I really do not. Now, this is not a very broken card because I don't believe in the TCG or OCG that they ever target this and put it on the ban list. Currently, right now, it's not on the ban list. It's on the unlimited list for the TCG and OCG, but I just feel that this card is a pretty darn good card because he keeps activating chain effects to where it can destroy a monster on the field. That was what his effect was. He kept chaining effects of his dragons in his hand to basically obliterate Shoma's entire field. Like, literally, his entire field was destroyed at the end of this, and he causes his divine judgment. He keeps discarding one turn he discards his Thunder Dragons from his hand to activate his effect, and then he's able to chain with the first effect of Titan, destroying the field until it got to the point to where Shoma's field was completely wiped out. He had no cards on the field, and this puts him in a situation where, like, oh, and once he says this, we already know he's going to lose because he has the second Gear Freed in his hand. His life points are still at 8,000. And during his next turn, if you can draw an equipped spell card or a monster that could be counted as an equipped spell card, then he can just set back up the field that he does. Because we've been seeing this, all of the duels, he did this against Strong and he did this against Dark, where he just was able to re-combo back into the play he had before and was able to re-destroy the monsters. He was able to take control of the duel again. He gets his field back to the way it was. He uses the same effects as last time and is able to win the duels. This is not the case. Tendo was able to direct attack. He still had cards in his hand. He says that this is the climax. He attacks with his Thunder Dragon Titan. He has a Thunder Dragon Roar on the field, and I believe he has another monster on the field, if I remember correctly. But he goes in for the attack, and Shoma, for the first time in the series, loses the duel. This is the first time that we actually see Shoma lose a duel. And I will say, though, I was shocked at this. The only reason why, though, is because of the fact that you had the presence going into this duel that, because of the fact that, Shoma beat Dark, which out of the 4 elementary duel kings, Dark was the strongest one out of them all. And Shoma beat Dark. That was literally the last chapter that we had was Dark lost to Shoma. And now Tendo beats Shoma in this duel. And I will say, though, poor sportsmanship, I will say, though, because Shoma was actually happy that he lost. And that's why I like this character, just because he doesn't let this loss get under him. Like, you see protagonists before, and obviously, he doesn't care about winning and losing. He clearly states that at the very end of the chapter, that he believes that winning and losing comes second, but having fun comes first. However, he does realize that some people believe that winning and losing comes first, fun comes second. And we kind of see that as Tendo kind of walks up to him. He tries to shake his hand and say, that was a fun duel. Good luck at the finals of the tournaments. And he was shocked about this. And he smack talks him about it. He says, like, I heard you beat Dark, and I was hoping for a serious duel, but you had fun losing. And he was disappointed. I immediately hated his character when he said that because, dang, dude, really? You won the duel and you had to be a smart aleck about it. But they at least made the comment to say, like, he was kind of worried for the tournament, which I understand. If you're worried, you might say stuff that you might not want because you're more thinking about that tournament than anything. And that was the situation with Tendo. But we actually go into the next day. He is in this tournament right now, and he's about to win. He actually got his opponent's life points to 100. He has 1,700 life points. It looks like he's going to win, and if he wins this duel, apparently he can go to Worlds. This is where everything just starts getting confusing, in my opinion. And I'm going to keep stating this because I feel like I need to make this point clear just to make sure you guys, like, if it sounds like I'm stupid and I don't understand what's going on, because it comes from the Yugioh card battle game. I have never played it. I have never played the game before. So if they explain what this Worlds thing was, I have no idea what it was. I even tried to look it up, and I looked up on Yugioh Organization, any news about that, and like if they talked about the story, that had nothing. I checked out the fan page, the Yugipedia, to see if that had anything in it. No, it just talked about the game. They didn't say the plot or anything like that. And obviously, I can't watch like a walkthrough or anything like that because I'm almost 99% sure that the entire playthrough is going to be in Japanese, which makes sense. Okay, well, that was very weird. My recording just stopped for some reason. Well, that's fantastic. So, yeah, I just talked about a whole bunch of stuff, and basically that didn't get recorded. So, my apologies for that weird break. But, what I think the last part was, like, I was talking about the, playthrough stuff. Obviously, I couldn't read the playthrough, or, like, I couldn't watch it because it was in Japan, which makes sense. It was only Japanese exclusive. But at least I wish an official source would say something about it, but that ends up not being the case. And maybe it's just for this manga, but they're talking about this whole world concept. That's what Tendo is dueling in this tournament for, to go into this world. He wants to get into Worlds so that he can go and see Protagonist again, because apparently this is where he is at. And now I'm going to be referencing Protagonist as the Yugioh card battle Protagonist. I just have to call him that because he doesn't have a name. But you see Tenyo get attacked by KNIGHTMARE Unicorn, which is pretty cool to see this card. This is a pretty common card that you see in the meta games. Like, they're normally, I think Unicorn is the one that helps with like back row and stuff like that of negating spell and traps. I believe that's what that one is. I might be wrong. I know KNIGHTMARE Unicorn and KNIGHTMARE Phoenix, I believe, is the other one that is really used. You see that in a lot of decks, along with maybe sometimes that incorporate fusions. You have the Predaplant Anaconda card, I believe, is the one. It's the Predaplant Link monster. People that play the game know the one I'm talking about. But Tendo ends up losing this duel. He talks about how he wants to go there, and he comes down and he starts crying because apparently this was his last chance to get into Worlds. Now, again, they don't really explain how Worlds work. I kind of wish they did in this chapter, but I could understand why they didn't. And hopefully, at least, I'm really hoping that the next chapter does explain it, because me reading this, I'm so confused what the heck they're talking about. If I have not played Yugioh Card Battle and they explain it in this game, how in the world am I supposed to know this? They've never explained it in this manga, and that's where I've been going for, and I never had the chance to play it. So if Yugioh Card Battle explains Worlds, I do not understand what's going on. So I hopefully they do explain it, but you have Dark and Strong kind of comforting him after what happened. Light wasn't there because she wasn't interested in this, which was, well, no, she was more interested that she didn't want to see him go in the Worlds, because obviously something happened to her in Protagonist, because like she does not want to like see anything when it comes to Worlds. Like something happened that she does not like about this, and that makes me a little bit interested on her whole thoughts on this. It looks like Dark and Strong are supportive when it comes to this, but she seems like she doesn't want to be a part of that, which is very, very interesting. So I hope they kind of explore that a little bit more and why she doesn't. Maybe she misses Protagonist too much and she just doesn't want to see another person go in there. In fact, that would actually make sense, but I don't know. We would just have to wait and see. But he breaks down after this whole situation, and then you got that whole line with Shoma talking about, a dual focus on winning or losing. That's a whole nother world I still do not understand, because all he does is duel for fun. That's the only reason why he's doing this. And, I respect him for that. And then you have these other people that win or lose is important to them. Like Tendo now just lost his chance to see protagonists once again and be in the world, be in worlds. It's weird to say it like that, but that's what they're wanting us to call this. And now he cannot enter anymore, which I do feel bad for the guy, and that made me respect him a little bit more after that. And yeah, I just need a little bit more explanation on the worlds, and I feel like we are going to get that, so I'm not going to be worried about it. But that whole last couple of chapters made me really interested to see where this story goes, because honestly I didn't think this was going to be much of a storytelling manga, because of the fact it was more towards the card game and explain deck strategies and all that stuff, like building decks. That's what this manga was advertised as. So to add this story in there, I absolutely like, because I feel like it needs to have a story. I was kind of hoping that when it covers that, because even though I would have covered it anyways, it makes me more invested because I like storytelling. So obviously I do reviews on the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's anime and then the Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains dub. So having a story to follow as well, sure, that gets confusing because I have to follow 3 different stories, but it also makes me excited. So I can't wait to learn more about these worlds that they're talking about. I more want to understand why you can't. Maybe you can only do it a certain amount of times. Maybe say you can only participate in 3 of these tournaments. And if you cannot win the tournament, in the 3 chances that you got, you can't enter worlds. Which I feel like that's kind of strict, but maybe that's the route they're going to go. I have no idea. Again, I have no explanation on this, and I'm not going to look forward just to understand it if it's explained in another chapter. So, guys, that is going to be it for this OCG Structures review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys' thoughts on this chapter down below. Did you like this chapter, or did you not really like this chapter? And what are your thoughts on Tendo? I think he's a pretty interesting character. He's not the Weevil. Well, he's kind of like a Weevil flip still, but not as bad as I thought. I mean, this is the first chapter, so I can't really judge too much on him. He's an character for me. He seems interesting, but I need to know a little bit more about him. I think Strong has been pretty good. I actually like him a little bit. I kind of feel like him in certain ways. I don't understand everything when it comes to the card game, and I can't memorize stuff like Shoma can. And I've liked Shoma. I've liked Dark. I'm interested in Light. We need to see a little bit more of her, I feel like. And then Tenno is pretty okay. So let me know what you guys think of him. And if you guys know if you guys played Saikyo Card Battle and you were able to translate it, or you were able to find it, if you're able to find a site that actually explains it, if you don't want to explain it in the comment section below, please send me a link, because I've been looking at Google. I looked for the last 2 hours before I ended up doing this recording session, and I couldn't find anything. And maybe it's just because I'm not looking at the right places, but I've been looking and I cannot find anything about this world's concept without trying to spoil it. So, and maybe it's because I was being careful too about it, because I was looking more into Saikyo Card Battle. I didn't look up specifically worlds because I was afraid that would spoil something for the OCG Structures manga, and obviously I don't want to do that to myself. So maybe it's a little bit harder, and if it's explaining the OCG Structures manga, just say it's in that. That way I know, okay, and then I can go into saying okay, we are going to learn about it. It's fine. But guys, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, guys, take care. Have yourselves a great rest of your day.